Okay, this is the flight I did with the 4S Lion 4,000 milliamp hour Lion from iFlight, full send, whatever they call it. Alright, so the chart in the bottom right is the SD card log from the radio, logs everything down. It was a 30-minute, 9-second flight. I put it into decimals, calculated the average speed as 44.369 kilometers an hour, which means over that time it traveled a distance of 22.295 kilometers. Average miles per hour is 27.575, so it traveled 13.5 miles on this trip. Average speed, not a bad average speed. It's faster than I normally average, hence why carrying the camera, why the flight's probably shorter than normal. Plus the drone's still on the stock iNAV tube. I just put iNAV back in. I never saved my tune from last time, which had some problems. The drone, I don't know, got worse. So it's still on the stock iNAV tune, which you can see it shakes all over the place. Originally I threw the Insta360 GO and I used this drone just because, even though I wasn't tuned, people were saying the Insta360 GO has a lot of jello. I threw it on my 3-inch. It was a little cloudy. There was no jello. I tried high frames per second and there was no jello. So I'm like, you know what? If anything's gonna give it jello, it's gonna be the drone that's vibrating like a mad dog. It oscillates at I think it's calculating on the black box. It's oscillating at 80 hertz on the pitch axis, and then sometimes it vibrates a little more, worse. DJI video is small, you don't really notice it, but when it's zoomed in, you could see the pitch going up and down. So, and the Insta360 GO2, I'm recording in the HDR video. The only thing I did was I changed the colors a little, added more saturation for certain parts. Actually no, I didn't touch the Insta360 GO video at all, did I? Oh yeah, I did. Okay, wait, I did. I thought the DJI, I didn't touch the video at all on DJI because it's whatever. I added a little, I think I added a little saturation and a little contrast to the GO2 video for the HDR. But yeah, definitely if you put it in HDR on a sunny day and it's on a drone that oscillates with its soft TPU mount, definitely shaking, definitely see jello. Normally I fly pro video. I set my shutter to what I want it, usually not 124, but 148, 196. Usually one of those two. I set my shutter at. I put an ND filter on, and my ISO is usually 100 or 200, usually not higher than 200, and that's how I always fly it. I'll do 124 shutter speed if I want to get like a real blur effect, like I'm flying through something, just to make it look fast, flying low to the ground, and I want to just make it look fast. Then I'll see if I can put on my strongest ND filter, which is 32, and then see if I can darken it enough to run that shutter speed. I went out, I think I counted, it was oh shit, what was it, 2 something, it was a little over 3 kilometers. I went on Google Maps and it was shit, I don't remember how far. I think it was 2.09 miles. That's what it was. I went 2.09 miles. But on the goggles, I think it just tipped over 3 kilometers. I know I hit 3 before I turned back. I wasn't really paying attention. I had to turn back because my home arrow wasn't working. So I first went out, I turned around. I'm like, okay, the arrow's pointing home. Bam, we're good. Let's go. So I get out here. When I get so far, I'm like, oh, let me turn around again. Let me see. And I turned around, and my home arrow didn't turn with me. It stayed pointing in the same direction it was. And good thing I did. I didn't want to push too far. I was like, oh, when I got to 15, let me turn around and let me just, make sure everything's working, make sure I know my way home. And then I was like, fuck, my arrow's not working. I'm not exactly sure which way is home. I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, I know I passed the pool. I know I passed the parking lot. That's why I started going this way. I'm like, let me cut the difference between those two. I was like, worst case, I knew I turned enough. I can hit the river and follow the river as I see the winery. But once I got here, I started seeing that parking lot. I'm like, you know, I think that's what I crossed over. So I turned. I was like, oh, okay. There's a parking lot. That's where I crossed over. But yeah, the Go video is fucking shit on this drone. I'll try one of my drones with a better tune in this mode, because I tried it on a cloudy day with Pro and it was fine, but it was also cloudy, so it might just be like real sunny days. So I could throw it on my 3-inch, which is not tuned either, but it doesn't vibrate as bad as this drone. It's definitely doesn't vibrate as hard and bad as this drone. So I could try it in that one. Plus these TPU mounts that are standing straight up for the Insta360 GOs, they're real soft. Like you can see, like when you touch it, like it definitely move around. If it starts vibrating, the camera definitely moves around more than it probably really should. And I understand you don't want it hard mounted, but maybe I should lay the camera sideways. I feel like if they were sideways, it wouldn't be shaking as much. And there goes the pool, and there goes the river. Alright, well, I'll go and fast forward the rest of this video. You enjoy. I just wanted to show the Go camera with the Jello. That's why you got to use the ND filters that it came with. I don't know why people complain it's a band-aid. It happens. Drones vibrate a lot. You know, these cameras aren't super soft Jello mounted like DJI. If you ever look, their cameras are mounted hanging from little rubber mounts that are very soft for this reason right here, so these cameras don't vibrate and get Jello. I'm sure once I tune this drone and do all that it won't be this bad. Alright, so in conclusion, with the 4S line on my Recon 5 1600 kV motors, it first takes off and hovers just below 50% throttle. Most of the way it's hovering at 50% throttle, but near the end it starts to get up to like 60-some% throttle. So it's probably starts out worse than the Explorer we're relying on, but in the end it doesn't seem to lose as much. Like in the end I felt like I had more power with this than the Explorer still had, being it is 5-inch. But with the 4S 4000 milliamp line, that's 300 grams, it does take a decent amount extra throttle to hover it, because you can see at the end here I'm at I think it was at 2.9 volts per cell. That says what, 11.5 or something? Yeah, 11.4. And it's at what is that, like 60% throttle? You would just take 1280 divided by 2048 to get what the throttle is. 48. Yeah, 63% throttle, 62.5. So it ends, that's still lower than what the Explorer is. The Explorer, my Explorer with a line, when I take it down to 2.5, so it's probably on par with the Explorer, you know. I mean, when I first started, I didn't think it was too bad, but when you get to the end, you can feel that you're really like high up in the throttle, like you're not used to going up this high just to hover. I'm gonna see if it can get a 40-minute flight when I tune it better, or at least maybe 36 or something. So, and I know when I get on it, I can get 30-minute flight going fast. Boom.